За сайн байцгаана уу? Монголоор агш байна. За Summer Adventures гэсэн хуваарийн дагуу явагдаж байгаа 6 дугаар ангийнхаа хичээлийг өргөжлүүлье. За өнөөдөр болвол хамгийн сүүлийн хичээл орох юм өдөр байгаа. 6 дугаар ангийн эхний 7 хоногийн хичээлүүдийг хийж байгаа. За эхний 7 хоногийн математикийн хичээл маань day 4 4 дахь өдрийнхөө ороод дуусж байгаа. Яа тэгэхээр day 5 ямар ч математик хичээл зоогдоогүй ийм өдөр байна. За өнөөдрийн хувьд day 4 гэд хоёр дахь хичээлээ хий. Хоёр дахь хичээлийн маань сэдэв болвол identify advantages and disadvantages of payment methods гэсэн ийм хичээл байна. За математикийн тоон хөгтгөн гэхээсээ илүүгээр математикийн англи хэлний ийм хичээл байна. За энэ бол 5 дугаар ангийн стандартын хичээл байгаа. За эхнийхээ асуултыг харъя. Which of the following is an advantage of using a debit card to pay for tickets to a theme parks? So advantage гэдэг маань бол ямар нэгэн зүйлийн яг илүү эерэг талын тухай ярьж байгаа. Disadvantage гэх юм бол яг this буюу энэ залгагдаад ороод ирэх юм бол энэ бол сөрөг дутагдaltaй талын тухай ярина гэсэн үг. За картнуудын тухай төлбөрийн хэлбэрүүдийн тухай тийм cash буюу бэлэн мөнгө байна. За эсвэл debit card буюу банкны карт эсвэл өөрийнхөө яг checking account-тайгаа холбогдсон ийм карт гэж ойлгож болно. Манайх бол яг credit card гэж бас байгаа. Credit гэх юм бол яг зээлийн карт гэж манайхан ярьдаг тийм ээ. Зээлийн карт буюу та банкнаас мөнгийг нь хэрэглээ явж байгаа. Хэрэглэснийхаа төлөө хүү төлдөг ийм карт байгаа. За ийм карт байх нэ. За ийм төлбөрийн хэрэглэлүүдийг ерөнхийдөө бол харах байх. За debit card хэрэглэж гэнэ үү эсвэл credit card хэрэглэж гэнэ үү гэснээсээ ялгагдахгүйгээр хамаарахгүйгээр юунд хэрэглэж байна гэдгээс бас хамаарат нөхцлүүд ба өөрчлөлтүүд явдаг юм байгаа. За тэгэхээр бүгдээрээ асуултуудаа анхааралтай уншаад зарим нэг асуултуудыг нь бас ерөнхийдөө асуултын зааврыг нь тайлбарыг нь харахын тулд бүгдээрээ албаар буруу хариулаад тодорхой хэмжээнд ямар нөхцөлд debit card-ыг хэрэглэх юм бол advantage гэж үзэх үү, ямар нөхцөлд disadvantage гэж үзэх үү гэдэг юм ч юм уу тийм нөхцлүүдийг хараад явъя гэсэн ийм төлөвлөгөөтэй байна энэ хичээл дээр бол. За буцаад асуулт руугаа оръё. Which of the following is an advantage of using a debit card to pay for tickets to a theme park? За theme park руу явах гэж байгаа юм байна. Энийхээ билетийг авахын тулд банкныхаа картыг checking account-тай картаа хэрэглэх нь ямар давуу талтай вэ гэх. За эхний statement маань болохоор зэрэг you must have a checking account. Энэ бол яг давуу талын тухай ерөөсөө яриаггүй байна. You must keep track of your spending so you don't try to spend more money than you have in your account. За debit card-н дээр бол байгаагаасаа илүү мөнгө зарцуулах юм уу эсвэл гүйргээ хийхийг оролдоход overdraft гэсэн ийм fee буюу илүү мөнгө татах гэсэн ийм тохиолдолд төлбөр төлдөг байгаа. За тийм болохоор бол энэ бол сайн анхаарах хэрэгтэй зүйл. Гэхдээ advantage гэдэг давуу тал гэдэг дээр бол энэ жоохон асуудалтай бол явж байгаа. Debit card-ны хувьд үнэн боловч advantage яг мөн үү биш үү гэдэг бол бас асуудалтай бол явж байгаа. За сүүлийнхаа statement-ыг харъя. Debit cards are easy to carry and use. So энэ бол advantage бол мөн. Тэгээд яг debit card-ны хувьд ч гэсэн бас тохирж байгаа ийм зүйл байх нэ. За миний хувьд бол бүгдээрээ сүүлийнхийг нь сонгоод үзье. Okay. Now let's go ahead and continue. So advantage and disadvantage and types of payment methods. Those are the things that we need to focus on. So this question, it says, which of the following is an advantage of using a check to buy a bicycle? So check is something that we do need to have with the checking account, which is a debit card, is also tied to your checking account. And from your checking account, you cannot overspend. And also, you need to know how to fill in or write a check. So, little check, there will be what, like amount, how much you want to spend, needs to be written there, who you paying to, and what are you paying for, and then you need to what, sign here. And all those information needs to be in place. Okay, so checking, it's not a card, it's a checkbook, it's a piece of paper. All right, now let's take a look at these statements. First one, it says, if there is not enough money in your account, you must pay a fee. Yes, that is true, but it's not an advantage. It's something of a disadvantage in this case. So we are trying to buy a bicycle. All right, so that's not really our advantage, but it is true for a checking account and having a check. You don't need a bank account to write a check. In order to have a check and a checkbook, right? You have to have a checking account. All right, that is very questionable. You will have a record of your purchase in case you need to return the bicycle. So that is true for checking accounts, and also that is true for checks. See, you're writing who you're paying to, how much you're paying for, and what it is for note for yourself, and you're signing. Since this is a checkbook, behind the page you're writing, a copy will be automatically saved. All right, so that last statement is true and it is advantage. All right, which of the following is an advantage of using a credit card to pay for a sofa? So we are going to use a credit card, we're going to pay for a sofa, and we are looking for an advantage. All right, first statement, if you can't pay your monthly credit card bill in full, you may owe interest. So when you have a credit card with or without the balance, as long as you did not reach your credit limit, you can swipe and purchase anything you want. Doesn't matter how much balance you have from the previous month, you can still use it as long as you did not reach your limit. So it is true. So I can go ahead buy a sofa, $1,000, $2,000, that's fine. But if I'm not paying my bill at the end of every month or billing cycle, I will be owing or paying interest, and it will add up more and more and more each month. So that is true. Second statement, you can buy now and pay later. That is also true. You can buy now and pay later, which is what? You swipe your card. You don't have to, you are paying with your credit card in a sense, but you don't have to pay the balance until later. So this is not really specifically saying what do they mean by pay. So I'm not sure about this one. Let's just say between the two, first one is the best option. All right, the third statement, it says credit cards are so easy to use that you must be careful not to spend too much. Okay, so this is also true. It's really easy to use, but this one is not really talking about something being advantage. It is talking about something being disadvantage. Okay. This is a tough one. First and the last one looks pretty similar, right? If you can't pay your monthly credit card bill in full, you may owe interest. Credit cards are so easy to use that you must be careful not to spend too much. So let's take a chance. Let's pick the first one and see. All right. So our first and the last ones, they were pretty close. So I guess between the two, let's read the explanation here. Explanation right here. With the credit cards, what is true? You can buy now and pay later using a credit card. So we are talking about advantages. So this first option and the last third option, they both were talking about something that might become a problem. So we were supposed to look for only a positive statement. Okay, I got that. All right, now let's go ahead and see. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a check to pay for a motorcycle? So we're looking for disadvantage. So we're looking for some kind of negative statement, and we are paying for a motorcycle. You must have enough money in your account. So yeah, in order to use a check, you need to have enough money to have that purchase made. Okay, that could be it. That's a disadvantage of using a check. Checks are completely safe payment method. So this is kind of a positive statement. So this is not our disadvantage. You must pay interest on the money you pay by check. So that is not true because your checking account is tied to your checkbook. Well, checkbook is tied to your checking account. So it is not the money you're borrowing. You are paying with the money you have. So the first one. Okay. Which of the following is an advantage of using automatic electronic payment? So auto pay to pay your credit bill or cable bill. So you are paying your bill, but you are talking about auto pay. Auto pay is you are not going to be making the payment every month or every week. You set it ahead of a time, and it will be happening once the date or time comes without your involvement. So you don't have to go and log in, it will happen. So let's go ahead and take a look at the answer options. You must pay interest on electronic payments. Not really. It depends on what kind of bank service you have. You can choose the date to send the payment. So we're looking for advantage, something positive. So it is true. You can set the date. First of the month, middle of the month, whenever you are getting paid, and after that date would be good. So this is actually sounds like an advantage. Last one, you must have the money in your account. So this one is not really talking about advantage. So let's do the second one. All right. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a check? We're using a check to pay for internet service. All right. First statement: you must have enough money in your account. So this is not really positive one. So it is negative thing about using the check instead of the credit cards maybe. So you have to have enough money. So that could be ours. The money will transfer immediately. Not really. The receiver needs to make a deposit. So that is also negative statement, and it actually kind of looks like our disadvantage. If you wanted your payment go through today because your payment is due today and they won't cash your check until 2 days later, your payment is not going to go through. So it could be disadvantage. Last one, checks are safer to carry. So this is a positive statement. So between the two, I would say the second statement is good. And we have another incorrect one. So it says you must have enough money in your account. So how is that a disadvantage? Let's see. I am looking for disadvantage. And our answer was for a positive statement. Let's see. You must have enough money in your account. Checks draw money directly from your checking account. So you must have enough money in your account when you write. Oh, all right. So it was about the writing the check part. So when they withdraw your money, you should have enough money in there. If you don't have enough, your cash is not gonna go through. Okay. Which of the following is an advantage of using a one-time electronic payment to pay for customized t-shirt. So it is one-time payment, and we're looking for an advantage. You must have enough money in your account. Okay. You must pay interest on electronic payments. Electronic payments are a fast way to pay. So it's a one-time payment, and it is a positive statement. So let's take that. All right. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a check to pay for a microwave? So we're looking for disadvantage, and we're using a check. Checks are safer to carry than cash. Yes, it is true, but we're looking for a negative statement. Some business won't accept checks, so that is true, and that's a negative statement, and that could be our answer. The money will be transferred immediately. So no, money is not going to be transferred immediately. So this is not a disadvantage, so that's not our answer. And this is not going to be transferred immediately, so our option is this one. Which of the following is an advantage of using a one-time electronic payment to buy tickets to a popular concert? All right, so we're looking for an advantage. You're going to make a payment via one-time electronic payment. All right, you must pay interest on electronic payments. So we're looking for advantage, so this is kind of negative statement. I don't think this is our answer. You may have to pay fees. And last one, electronic payments are a fast way to send money. So this is a positive statement. Let's pick that. Which of the following is an advantage of using a one-time electronic payment to make a down payment on a new car? So we're looking for advantage. We're making one-time electronic payment. You must pay interest on electronic payments. Not everyone accepts electronic payments. Electronic payments are a fast way to pay. So again, we're looking for a positive statement. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a credit card to pay for food for a big party? So we are looking for a disadvantage, something that is not really a good thing, and the credit card is what's being used. It takes a long time to make a payment. Not true, so that's not it. You may be charged interest and a late fee if you don't make your monthly payment on time. That's true, so this could be ours. You will have a record of the payment, so it depends on what kind of service you have. So disadvantage we're looking for is this. Which of the following is an advantage of using cash to pay for a coffee at a dinner? So we have advantage, positive statement we're looking for, but we are paying with cash. All right, it takes a long time for the payee to get the money. Not really, you pay in cash right there. So that's not our answer. You will automatically have a record of your payment. Not really, you are just handing the cash over. Last one, small amounts of cash are easy to carry. So that's true. Since we're buying coffee, it's not much of a money. All right. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a credit card to pay for a new mattress? So we're looking for disadvantage, something of a negative statement. We're using credit card and we're buying a mattress. So at least hundreds of dollars we're talking about. You'll have a record of the payment. So we're going to look for something of a negative statement. This is positive statement, so that's not our answer. If you can't pay your monthly balance, you must pay interest. So that is true, and that's kind of a negative statement, so that could be our answer. Credit cards are easy to carry and use. So we are looking for a disadvantage, which is a negative statement. So that's the only one. Which of the following is an advantage of using cash to pay for movie tickets? So we're looking for advantage. of using cash. So we're looking for a positive statement. If it's a movie tickets, maybe we're looking for like $10, $15, at most $20 maybe, right? Cash can be lost or stolen. So that's a negative thing, but we're looking for positive statement, so that's not our answer. It will take a long time for the theater to get the money. No, you just hand it over. It should not take long. There are no fees associated with paying in cash, so that's an advantage. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a check to pay for pet adoption fee? So disadvantage, something of a negative statement. We're paying with a check and we are paying for a pet adoption, okay? First statement, the check register in your checkbook can help you keep track of your spending. So that's true, but that's a good thing, right? But we're looking for disadvantage, so that's not our answer. It takes time to write out a check. Well, yes, that's a negative statement, and it could be our answer, but is that really a problem? It's not going to take more than 2 minutes to write it out. All right, checks are safer to carry than cash. So that's a positive statement. So our only negative one is here. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a debit card to pay for car tires? So we're looking for a negative statement of using debit cards. So debit cards are tied to your checking account. All right. Debit cards are easy to carry and use. That's a positive statement, so that's not ours. Debit cards allow immediate access to your account. That is true, but I'm not sure if it is a positive thing or negative thing. Let's see. You can only spend as much money as you already have in your account. So if you're buying a tires, you need it right now, and disadvantage is, do you have enough money or not? So I think that would be our answer. All right. Which of the following is an advantage of using a debit card to buy a pair of ice skates? So we are looking for a positive statement and using debit card. Personal identification number or PIN number helps keep your debit card safe. So that is true. It is a positive statement. That could be our answer. You will owe interest on the money you pay with the debit card. No, that's not true. You must open a checking account to have a debit card. So it is something of a negative, but we are talking about what's the advantage. What is positive about having a debit card and using it? So let's use that. It's safer. Which of the following is a disadvantage? So negative statement is what we're looking for, of using automatic electronic payments. All right, so we're making a loan payment. You must pay interest on the money you pay electronically. So that not really is our answer. You can choose the date to send your payment. So that's a positive thing, but we're looking for a disadvantage. You may have to pay fees. Automatic payment. If you are, but these two are talking about same thing though. Let's read them carefully again. You must pay interest on the money you pay electronically. All right, that's the disadvantage we're looking for. You may have to pay fees to set up auto pay. So let's pick that. Okay. Which of the following is an advantage of using automatic electronic payments to pay for an ebook subscription? So advantage, something of positive we're looking for, and it's auto pay. You may have to pay fees. That's a negative thing, so it's not our answer. Electronic payments are a fast way to pay. That's a positive way and maybe our answer. You must have enough money in your account. So that's a negative. So our option is right here. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a debit card to buy a bed for your pet? So we're looking for disadvantage, that's a negative thing, using a debit card. So if you don't have enough money in your account, you may owe a fee. That's true, and it's a negative thing, so that could be our answer. Debit cards are easy to carry and use. That's a positive, not a disadvantage. Debit cards allow you to immediately access your account. That's also positive, not disadvantage. Okay. Which of the following is an advantage of using a debit card to pay for admission to a carnival? So we're looking for advantage of using debit card. You must open a bank account to have a debit card. So that's true, but then it's not really an advantage. A PIN helps keep your credit card safe, so it's a positive thing. That could be our answer. If your debit card is lost or destroyed, you lose your money. Not technically based on what kind of service you have with your bank, so our advantage is here. Right, now we're entering the challenge zone. Which of the following is an advantage of using a check to pay for a home repair? Okay, so we are looking for advantage of using a check. You will have a record of your payment. That's an advantage, yes, maybe our answer. You must have enough money in your checking account. True, but not really advantage that we are looking for. You must open a checking account. Again, not really. It is true, but not our answer. Which of the following is a disadvantage of paying for a lunch at a restaurant with check? Okay, so disadvantage, something of a negative. It is hard to send a check in the mail. So you at the restaurant, you don't have to mail it. So that's not our answer. Not all businesses accept checks. That's true. So that could be our disadvantage. Let's see the last one. You will have a record of. So that's a positive thing actually. So the disadvantage is this one. Which of the following is a disadvantage of using a debit card to pay for painting easel? All right, so we're looking for a disadvantage of using debit card. You will owe interest on the money you pay with the debit card. Not true. Debit cards allow immediate access to your account. That's a positive thing, so it's not really our disadvantage. If you don't have enough money in your account, your purchase may be denied. So that's the disadvantage. All right. Which of the following is an advantage of using a credit card to pay for a drum set? So we're looking for an advantage. That's a positive statement of using credit card. It takes a long time to make a payment. Not true. You may have to pay annual fees to have a credit card. True for some cards, but that's not advantage. So that's not our answer. You can buy now and pay later. That's true. That's the advantage. All right. Which of the following is an advantage of using a credit card to pay for an emergency plumbing repair? So advantage of a credit card use. You can pay for emergencies with a credit card when you don't have enough cash. That's true, and it is actually an advantage. So that could be our answer. If your credit card is lost or stolen, you automatically lose your money. Not really, based on your service, and that's not our answer. If you can't pay your monthly balance, you must pay interest. So that's not really advantage. So there we go. All right, dynamite.